Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel and podcast. And we are back. Instant reaction today. Newcastle United 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. I am your host, Chris, joined by Matthew.
Hello.
We have just done the live watch along to what turned out to be quite a stressful afternoon. Enjoyable in the end, but stressful throughout. A couple of moments where we were shitting our pants, Matthew, but we got there. So... let's get there. Right at the start of the day, we're looking at this fixture and we're thinking it's another trip to the Molineux. It's another one which is probably going to be a cagey and a fit.
Do you always call it the Molineux?
What is it called?
Just Molineux, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the Molineux.
Unless I'm wrong.
Maybe it is. It's called Molineux.
Anyway, sorry, I've stopped you mid-flow, but we'll
maybe
go.
it is. Is it like calling it the St. James's Park?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because one word.
Maybe you're getting mixed up with the Hawthorns.
Is it Emirates or the Emirates?
The Emirates Stadium.
All right, maybe that's why. Just because one word.
The Hawthorns, the Emirates Stadium.
But anyway,
I think it's called Molineux.
We got 3 points at Molineux.
Yes.
We did get 3 points, but going into the game, like I said, we're always looking at this sort of fixture against Wolves and thinking it's going to be quite turgid. It's always a bit of a pain watching that sort of performance. We'll always manage to walk away with the draw. Sometimes quite lucky to get the draw as well when we're there. Looks on our side, and it turns out it kind of was today at certain points of the game, but we will get onto that. But I want to go to the starting lineup, Matty, and I know we would discuss this live on air on YouTube during the watch along, but there's a few decisions which were made where people are asking questions. One of them obviously being the left back situation, Hall coming back in instead of Kelly. The other one being Longstaff keeping his spot despite Tonali getting the 2 90-minute appearances for Italy when he's on international duty, and the other one was Barnes being dropped and Murphy coming in when we have seen the option of both Gordon and Barnes being in the same starting 11 on either flanks as well. So those are probably the 3 talking points. And yes, we discussed it, but just to recap, were you shocked at that?
I wasn't shocked. So we'll start with the Longstaff debate. I wasn't shocked at him keeping his place. I mentioned just before the watch along that I felt like Tonali is in the last steps towards becoming a starter for Newcastle again. Like many, was still very surprised. He got 2 90-minute spells under his belt for Italy, which is great, by the way. And I watched both of them, and I thought he played really well. Obviously, that delicious assist for that amazing goal that scored in the first game, and he had a goal chalked off for a marginal offside in the second. And I just thought him getting minutes in his legs can only help Newcastle. However, him getting said minutes probably feeds into the decision to not play him today, because you've played 2 90-minute games in the space of a week, and they've probably just said, okay, we probably just bring him off the bench when we need to bring him off. So that I wasn't annoyed at that. I wasn't like sort of shocked by that. I think if it's a video game situation, we're talking about something different, but it's real life, man. We're talking about a player who was just came back from not playing competitive football for 10 months, and he's played 2 90-minute games in the space of less than a week. And I just think that's fed into Eddie Howe's thinking, and he's turned the reliable Longstaff. Appreciate I've used the words reliable, and we'll probably come on. Come on to that in a second. The Murphy thing, that was probably the most surprising one for me. Jacob Murphy, we sort of give him a mixed bag of feedback after the Spurs game, because when he came on, I said, does him and his brother Josh have a third brother who just doesn't play football? Because
I don't think there's a polite way of putting it. How bad that performance was when he first
Well, you know
came
where
on.
I'm like, I try to be at least a little bit political.
The joint out.
He did, but then he goes and makes a great run, receives a great pass, and does the right thing and puts it on a play for Alexander Isak. And after that, he was quite good, solid. Jacob Murphy, we've come to know and love, but I was surprised he started. We've talked about this before. Harvey Barnes. He is the player that we want to see sort of included in the squad, even when Anthony Gordon's there. Because with the lack of the right wing position in recruitment, we want to try and find a way to get both these players playing in a front three with Alexander Isak, and it gives you this sort of fluidity where you could Gordon go shift on the right, Barnes to the left. Barnes can fill in behind the striker. Barnes can even sometimes when Isak drops back, he can fill in centre forward. Make this fluid front three. So I was surprised that they haven't done that. Maybe you just sort of thought, I need that industry from Jacob Murphy on the right hand side. But it was a little bit surprised. The Tino one doesn't surprise me. Trippier again, great servant for Newcastle in the short space of time he's been here. But I just still think that he is slowly but surely becoming the number one right back in Newcastle. Okay. So not surprised at Longstaff for Tonali, not surprised at Tino for Trippier, but was quite surprised at Murphy for Barnes.
Yeah, the game itself. So we'll start off pretty well, Matty. Like the first opening 10 minutes, which we've seen a couple of times so far this season, we attempt to control the game. It's us on basically forward thinking and trying to move the ball and progress up the field. Exact same happened again today. Wolves, first opening 10 minutes, arguably, you say, right, Newcastle have started off the better team here. As the game progresses, we tend to just drop those levels, and which brings Wolves into the game. And there's not many talking points in the game when we're talking about moments that have changed the game. But obviously, the first talking point has to be the goal that was conceded.
Yeah, definitely. I think up until then, and those of you who joined us on the watch along, thank you very much for that. But there was this word that just kept coming up, and it was execution. And it was just the fact that we had most of the ball. First 20 minutes, we had 76% of the ball. We could see what the players were trying to do in terms of when they were trying to make a pass in the final third. Now, in terms of game plan, I'm not sure what the game plan was today. It wasn't evidently obvious. But when we got in the final third, 1-2, trying to play a through ball, took that extra touch, maybe didn't play the pass as quick as we should have. And again, there's this move, and we'll talk about the goal now. There's this move down the left. It comes inside a Longstaff, and he just went open his body up and played that first time through ball to Alexander Isak. I have zero issues with that attempted pass, but he's not done it properly. He's actually done it pretty badly, and it's been intercepted, and it's caused a move. And we even said on the watch along that I feel the only way they're going to score is on the break, or if we make a mistake, and it was sort of a mix of the two. They go up the other end, they work it out wide, and Dan Burns got a one-on-one. He has a chance to sort of impose himself physically. Doesn't do it probably as best as he could. I don't know if I'm wanting him to take the foul there.
But he kind of tries to shepherd the player out a little bit and a bit of a shoulder barge, and just he gets done for pace.
Yeah, I don't know if I want him to take the foul that early, because obviously that could be a take one for the team, yellow card.
It's a yellow card, yeah.
I don't fancy him doing that there. But then when you watch the replays as well, Fabian Schär's in a bit of a catch-22 because he's watching basically two players. And one of said players makes a late break, and Bruno Guimaraes is his marker, basically. And Bruno's running in mud a little bit. But I say running in mud, he's just tracking him. And then when the lad makes the sprint, he doesn't follow.
He's never catching up, though.
Yeah, and I think that's the eventual lad who makes I think it's Gomez, makes a fantastic dummy. Yeah. Brilliant bit of play. And because, like I said, Schär didn't know who to cover. He doesn't know that Lemina's behind him. So I would say it was a well-executed break by Wolves.
Great goal.
Great look goal on the eye. But I'm not putting it all down to Sean Longstaff not being able to execute that final ball. Definitely had a part to play in it, but I still think that maybe Dan Burn could have done a little bit better. Barring that, by the way, again, brilliant today. Dan Burn. And Bruno had probably one of his smaller, not off days. I'm not saying he was bad. He should have been tracking his man there. But yeah, it was frustrating because, like you said, we had a lot of the ball and we just couldn't get the job done in the final third.
And I think you're correct what you're saying. Longstaff will get the blame for that because we just know that'll happen. Longstaff will he'll have the spotlight on him.
If that's Bruno doing that, I think some people still would rightly point the finger, but I'm saying I reckon he gets less of the impetus put on him.
I agree. I think the issue there is that, kind of just to summarize what you're saying, Longstaff loses the ball very, very high up the field, edge of their box, right? Edge of their box. There's no real excuse for them to then get to the other side and for us to concede.
If we were chasing the game and it's the 90th minute and that happens because we've got everyone in their half and then they just play a long ball, we should still have enough about it to be able to nullify
prevent that.
Again, good break by Wolves, but they'll be analysing that. They'll definitely be able to point fingers at certain points of the pitch.
And I think Dan Burn, like you said, Dan Burn had a great game again today. He really did. And being back in that centre-back position, I love Dan Burn in that role. I really do. Should be captain. Yeah. Do you think?
I don't know. I'm just really excited.
And whispering as well.
I understand why Bruno's captain. I do, but I just the way it's been going on from centre half over the last 3 to 4 games, it's blood, snot, guts.
He's going to be disappointed in himself in that moment as well.
But then there's plenty of little bits in the first. There was one tackle he made that led to a break that we didn't again execute well. there's just some blocks he puts in. You're like, who was that? Oh, of course, it's Dan Burn again.
Yeah.
Puts his head where you shouldn't be putting your head.
So Wolves take the lead, but that's not to mention, we'll have skipped over a couple of things which happened because Gordon has a great chance where he just skips around players, edge of the box,
Chance he
cuts
makes
inside.
by himself.
Exactly. And just unlucky, hits the far post. Very, very unlucky. But yes, Wolves do take the lead, and we're going into half time, Matty, and thinking, right, we've predicted you went with, well, we both went 1-1 to start with, and halfway through the first half, I was like, I still think we might nick it.
And I said as well, as history dictates, even the season where we were putting people to the sword, and like going to places like Goodison Park that we haven't travelled through well before, going to the London Stadium and just smashing teams 5-1. You know what I mean? Amazing away performances. But we went to Wolves and effectively, managed to snatch a point with an amazing goal from Mark's mate, Alan St. Maximin.
Maxi,
but it's always felt like history dictates that when we go to Molineux, the Molineux, it's a really hard fought game. We don't win there. We very rarely win there comfortably. If we do win it all, or a lot of the time it's been score draw, and a lot of those score draws as well. You're like, we're
fighting to get back in.
Even like I said last season, 1-0 up, 2-1 up, you sort of went away going, I'm frustrated, but I guess I'll take that because they could have scored another couple there.
100%. And so we're sat at half time, Matt, and we're saying
it's going to be exactly the same if we're lucky. We're lucky.
Because performance wasn't there again in the first half. We knew it wasn't. But at half time, we're thinking something needs to change. We're getting a lot of comments in, people saying, right, Longstaff needs to be replaced by Tonali, which we kind of agreed on at that point, didn't we? Going in the second half. Then a lot of people calling out. Hall was one of the players that was getting called out a bit as well. And obviously Murphy to be replaced by Barnes. Half time comes, and just before the second half, we see the three players stand on the side of the field. So we had Willock, Barnes, and Tonali stand there, and we were sat like, what the
I think I did this.
Like, what's happened?
For the audio listeners, think of those inflatable tube men. I was like this. Whoa,
I think you might be like thrusting at one point as well, to be fair.
I don't think I thrusted.
It was a slight thrust.
It was definitely a confused thruster. Me going like, why do I like this?
Slight thrust. But then obviously we're seeing the lads on the side of the field, but don't know who's being replaced at this point. And in our heads, mentally, we'll probably just thought it's like for like replacements at this point.
100%. Well, I say that we were like, right, Tonali and Barnes were the ones who everyone was saying,
yes,
get them on. So we know who they're coming on. We thought we knew who they were coming on for. Willock,
I thought possibly Joe Linton because he had picked up the yellow card,
which eventually started being the case. I did not expect to then see that obviously Alexander Isak came off. I spoke to my father, who you might have seen that actually rang me at the end of the watch along. God bless him. I love him to bits. But he told me on the phone that apparently they just couldn't stem the bleeding from his nose.
All right.
His nose just kept bleeding. So like, we can't put you on. Like, so there must have been like shooting bloody cotton buzz up there and it's just bleeding. So he's obviously broke something.
Yeah.
So very short odds on Alexander Isak wearing a shoulder Amiobi-esque mask.
So not, as far as we know, not a broken nose, but they just couldn't stop the bleeding.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why he's came off. So I mean, it's, if anything, coming off the back of a win, it's sort of a silver lining that it's not like an injury that might keep him out.
Game missing injuries.
Yeah. So but we saw those changes and we thought, well,
after we're just sitting at half time saying Eddie Howe doesn't make changes.
My exact words were, he ain't the halftime man, whatever that means. But I stand by it. But it turns out he is the halftime man, and he made three changes.
Bold,
very bold.
Very bold.
One of them enforced, obviously.
Yeah.
But the other two, but it ends up being who was it? It was Tonali for Longstaff, Willock for Joe Linton, and Barnes for who was Barnes coming for? Well, I've had a very
absolute mental blocks. Hang on, let's go through it.
It wasn't.
None of the defenders.
It wasn't.
Defenders are still there. So none of the defenders. So your midfield, you had Longstaff, Joe Linton, Bruno. So Joe Linton went off. Longstaff went off. Then who was it? Oh, Isaac Manny Daphne. We've just been talking about him.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, Isaac went off.
It's been a long day. Anyway, so they come on and we're just like, okay, like it's nothing but intriguing. Like, and hopefully it'll inject something at the game. And sadly, it didn't.
A little glimpse at the very start of the second half.
A lot of pressing by Anthony Gordon.
Yep. Quick succession closes the kid
anyone
down
who's
twice.
saying he's, again, the whole head turn, not interested thing, get out.
Grafted today.
He grafted today. We talked about his lack of sort of tracking back in the first half. It's definitely a tactical thing. 100%. We have seen him break his neck to get back for stuff before. And I reckon as a football manager, sometimes I go, that's great, but we don't want you to do that all the time.
Manage it better.
Yep, you might hurt yourself. He was closing down from the front all the time. And then I think when it got to about the last 10 minutes, you could see he was knackered. Absolutely knackered. So, yeah, it didn't. First 5 minutes seemed bright, but then slowly but surely, Wolves just started getting the ball more. And after 20 minutes, ironically, same stat comes up, and it's pretty much we had 76%, I think, or something like that in the first half. In the first 20 minutes, they had 70% for them, and it was just like, okay, what do we do here? What?
There was a couple of moments, skin of the teeth sort of things, where Nick Pope, there's a shot comes in, well, a cross really comes in,
shovel serve,
and he gets. I don't want to say stuck in no man's land because it's not as bad as that, but he's just. I think he's just not aware of how far he is from his goal, and he kind of he shovels the ball out, and it's a decent recovery save, I would class it as.
He managed to get enough on it to get it away.
Yes.
So it's a very similar awkward body shape to that save he made against Tottenham that led to the goal. But he managed to like properly get it away. But you still look at it and go, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Strained
and
one.
I think it is because it's a similar type of cross where he's like, am I coming to claim this?
Yeah.
Or am I standing on my line?
Then it just drops.
And then just all of a sudden it's like, oh God, someone's So I guess I'll put it down. I give 50% actually not a bad save, 50% awkward.
Yeah. Awkward's probably a good way to describe it.
We'll come on to Nick Pope later because
towards the end,
I will kiss that man square on the lips if I ever see him. But
we do get back into the game. And
what did we say? Let's talk about what we said.
Yeah. Okay.
You said
it's going to take something special.
It's going to take either something special, and I said, "Oh, like this feels like when we were in the Championship, we were playing Brighton, and we're second best to everything. It's going to take something fluky to get us a goal." And I also said, whatever happens, if that does happen, that'll be it. We'll draw one more.
Yeah,
I was wrong, thankfully. But we get a mix of both. For the equalizer.
We do. So there's people in the comments of the watch along just screaming like for somebody to have a shot because that wasn't really happening.
There was a corner just previous to it. It felt it's Tonali.
Yeah,
he decided to work it out wide.
Murphy, I think.
Murphy doesn't shoot, and then we lose the ball.
And I think it goes to possibly Barnes and so on and so on. There's just nobody willing to just be a bit brave, take a risk, and just test the keeper. We didn't really have that until Fabian steps up. And this is something which I mentioned on the starting 11 prediction video, which I did on Friday, I believe it was. I said it's that option of having Fabian back in the team. You get a couple of things from Fabian. You get the confidence to hold the ball and carry the ball out of defense. You get his passing ability as well, because we know that Fabian loves a diagonal.
It lent to us having more possession.
And he loves to fucking hit a ball. He loves to hit a ball, and that's exactly what we saw. He took the risk. He smashed at it. Yes, there's a huge deflection which just loops that over the keeper. Craig Dawson, who's still around apparently. So Craig Dawson, he tries to just get his head on and flick it over, but
can't blame him. It's by the way, objectively, like he's done now wrong there. If
anything, just try to get
brave as fuck. He's just like.
He had already taken one in the face as well, not before that. But yes, he gets in the way, he dinks it, and that just where it loops it over the keeper. And it's honestly, that's all that game needed at that point. Something to happen in our favour, because there was moments where I don't want to say unlucky, but not necessarily just second best either, but where the ball just happily falls to a Wolves player in those sort of situations. But that's probably to do with our position. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
But at that moment, we're thinking, Matty, that this could be our opportunity to flip that, right? 1-1.
I'm not thinking this.
Well, Matty's definitely not thinking it, but I'm thinking, right, we've got it level, right? Why not? I said at half time when we brought those 3 substitutions, we probably already showed with hand, like, this is what we can do.
Look, we've scored, and I think it was, the 76, 77 minute. That is a great, we've shifted the momentum. Great. Got the players on the pitch to go for it.
Trips was on at this point as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're just thinking, okay, like, did Wolves get the wind in their sails now? Have we woken them up? Like, it was just such a strange one, and it just spoke to this template of playing Wolves away. Like it was it was chaos, but not maybe.
It was like a movie we had already watched.
Yeah. And I'd love to know what. And I know not many neutrals are going to watch this video, but like I'd love to know what a neutral watching that game felt when Newcastle scored that equalizer. They probably thought, well, they don't really deserve that. Like, but it's been.
Well, I probably agree.
And I'd agree. But like, excuse me, what the thought moving forward? What did they think was going to sort of unfold in that game? So it was quite an intriguing game.
Yeah.
Now I look back on it. At the time, I wanted to just smash my head through a wall, like, because I just hated it. I just hated it so much. But then, Chris, then what happened?
Harvey Barnes happened. Harvey Barnes happened. And do you know what is? This is what was... You can understand why people are frustrated that Harvey Barnes wasn't starting the game. And I've mentioned at the end of the match, when you have the opportunity to have Gordon and Barnes on the field at the same time, why do you not take it? Because both of those players are fantastic players, fantastic wingers. Yes, you might not get the best from Gordon being on the right-hand side, but he still has good games on the right-hand side, and it allows you to play Barnes on that left.
Yeah.
Right? We know that Barnes is very similar to Gordon, where he'll happily cut inside.
Yeah.
But the shot that Barnes has with that right foot...
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's one of those things, like you see him, you know what's going to happen. And do you know what it is? The defender knows what's going to happen as well. He cuts inside. And the defender must think, shit, there's a bit of space here to my left.
Yeah.
And as soon as Barnes sees that space, he's like, I'm just going to hit it. Yeah. And when he hits it, you know for fine well that's hitting target.
I'm going to shout out one of my friends here, one of my mates who sits behind me at the match. I've sat with him for over a decade, David Armstrong. If you ever watch this, what a guy. He always watches wingers like coming down to the lasers end when we're defending. And he always scream, he's all 1 foot, he's all 1 foot, he's all 1 foot. I'm not saying Harvey Barnes is all 1 foot, but he's all 1 foot when it comes to hitting balls like that. So it's like, if you've got him there, didn't be showing him inside. And like you've just said, I think it's because the defender's caught there and he's went, there's an overlap there. So I best like sort of cut that off. And he's just went, thank you. He still has no right to hit that shot the way he does. I felt so many different emotions in the space of about a second when that ball was traveling through the air when I was sat over there watching this game, because I thought there's no way that's making the net ripple. And it did. And you're just like...
Keeper's not even close, mate.
Oh, my God. No, keeper's a full stretch.
Yeah.
The angle, the shot, the ball starts about half a foot outside the far post and it just comes in. Oh, my God. I said this on the stream. There's a person who I like on Twitter and I can't remember his name. But he said something a few months back saying, I still don't understand Harvey Barnes. Like, I don't think he's that good. I don't know what he brings. And I've always said it's because he's not sexy, he's not flashy, he's not lightning quick with all the step overs. But he's smart. He's smart and he's got great technique. And I think that's what about him. Giving goes, just little jinky runs. That whack. We saw it against West Ham last season. By God, did we see it today? I
remember, right? So when we signed Barnes, there's a Leicester fan channel that we've done like stuff with the previous seasons, like some match previews and things like that, and players going to and from Perez. We've done something about Perez and things like that. And one of the questions which I asked him on one of the streams, and I will be able to find it if I want to do, is Harvey Barnes, because we're linked with Tielemans and things like that, weren't we? And Harvey Barnes' name came up, and I'd signed him at this point. And what do you get from him? And they said that he's one trick pony where he'll run to the byline, then come back in.
Right.
We're not seeing that Harvey Barnes like.
I can't remember last time I saw him get there.
He very rarely gets to the byline.
Did they play him on the right?
He makes the decision like before, like probably as he hits the edge of the box, where 9 out of 10 times he's got one thing in his mind, and he's finding space to his right. That's exactly what he does.
And we saw him play on, and that's why I'm excited to maybe see him play on the right. Sometimes I'd love to see him hit the byline and obviously, they've said he cuts back because he plays left wing. But, like, you know, who's to say we don't see him ever play on the right, get the byline and
cross it in? Yeah.
I know that's it's not cool in modern football to hit the byline and cross the ball in like Keith Gillespie. Like, but it's something that I think is a bit missing in football these days. But, yeah, it's just his technique. And you look at his highlight reel now for Newcastle, it's already... Screamers. Well-taken finishes. I mean, I love that goal he scored, the header he scored against Brentford at the end of last season. Gorgeous goal. It's looking like money well spent now, touch wood.
Yeah.
You know, I know he got...
I think, I agree.
But, and I did see on the replay of one of the shots, it was... Obviously, the bench went wild because they've scored to make it 2-1. Excuse me, there was a way Jason Tyndall ran up to Eddie Howe as if to say, fuck, he's done something, the thing we wanted him to do.
Again.
No, but like, it's sort of like, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I know people would probably like, wow, you brought on Barnes, that everyone else wanted Barnes to come on, like, and he scored a scream. But I think it was maybe the way they thought, if we maybe put a decoy run down the outside left, like we've just said, it'll give him space to stick to cutting on his right. And that's exactly what I think happened as well.
Yeah.
They thought, okay, I'll show him in. He's only 25 yards out, no chance. Oh, God, what a strike. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, it's one of those goals that you're going to watch for a long time.
Holy
just
shit,
over
man.
and over again.
I've had
and do you
4
know
of these, and I'm going to drink another 4.
Well, lucky enough with the footage that we're watching as well on Sky there is that we saw the angle from the goal from 3 different angles.
Yeah.
There's going to be more.
Do you know what I thought was
There's going to be somebody
well?
recording from behind the goal.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
The what I noticed is Sky today is every time they scored a goal, or there was a goal scored, they showed it from the live cam footage replay first. That was interesting.
All right, okay.
Yeah. They just went like replay exactly what the crowd, exactly what you guys at home saw, and then we'll show. So I thought it was quite a good tactical way of looking at it. Actually, don't know why we're talking about Sky's broadcasting, but we'll take it.
What we want to mention as well before we'll wrap up this one is Nick Pope. So Nick Pope keeps us in that later on in the match, Matty. And you want to speak a little bit about Nick Pope?
I want to speak about goalkeeping in general.
Yeah,
like I'm no goalkeeping coach. I'm no goalkeeping expert, but at the same time, I am not an idiot. I am totally aware that there's plenty of times the ball gets rolled back to Nick Pope and he's got half a bit of pressure and it goes straight out of touch.
Yeah. I've saw it in the first few minutes of today's game.
Actually, funny enough, we saw two bits. There's a part early in the first half where the ball gets rolled back to him, but it's because he's the last option, and he just whacks it in a touch. And I said, that's fine.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. From the resultant throw-in from Wolves, we win the ball. It gets rolled back to Nick Pope again. No pressure whatsoever. And he puts it only about 10, 15 yards up the field, and it goes out.
Out of play.
And I'm like, right, yeah, that's frustrating. I get it. I get why. But I think some people go on, like if Nick Pope could use his feet really well or kick, 20, 30% better, we'd concede less goals or we'd score more, win more games. That's the point I'm trying to make. We might statistically concede less chances. I don't see how it's going to end up making us score a load more goals or win more games.
Mm-hmm.
There might be certain moments, but it's marginal gains. And I know over the course of a season or over a full team, marginal gains in every position leads to big gains, and I get that. But people go on like him not being able to kick is like this huge problem that if it was corrected, we'd get more points on the board. I just don't believe you. And I think it's testament to the way modern football is, not to sound like a dinosaur or anything. I would love to be able to Nick Pope to be able to do Cruyff turns and all sorts. But the first thing I want my goalkeeper to be able to do is keep the ball out the back of the net.
Which what we saw there.
Exactly. So, yes, I know that you made a mistake against Spurs to a degree that led to that own goal. But that save he makes is why you have Nick Pope in goal.
Yeah.
Martin Dubravka does not make that save. I'm putting my hat on the line. And I absolutely love Martin Dubravka. He worked through some dark times at Newcastle. Was one of the reasons we've won games against that Man United game. Unbelievable. Yeah. He'll go down. I'm nothing against him, but I don't think he's making that save. Nick Pope is tall, really good reactions. When that ball got hit and the angle it was at, I was like, that is nestling in the side. We both
thought that was going in the back of the net.
And the hand he gets to that, to push it down that byline, unreal. And if anyone wants to say, well, have a go at me for being a part of pudding.
Monkey hanger.
And say it's a save you should be making, then what? I just feel bad for goalkeepers because I feel like we live in an era now where
it's a thankless task.
It's either the saves he should be making or there's absolutely ridiculously outstanding saves. There's nothing in the middle. For me, that save was an outstanding save and it's won us 3 points. The Screamers won us 3 points from Harvey Barnes. Totally agree. But that's just
collectively
just as important.
That's how we got all 3
and
points.
I'm just over the moon for him. Class, love him, kiss him straight on the mouth. If I ever saw him, I mean, I'd probably get arrested for that.
Probably, unless he welcomed it.
Yeah, I'd say, hey, Nick
fancy
Pope,
a kiss?
Fancy a kiss? Only a little one.
Unless
Christmas, bit of mistletoe. We'll see.
So, yes, we'll leave Molineux. All 3 points. 2-1 winners.
Yeah.
It was ugly at times. We can't deny that. The performance
It was.
wasn't up there as well, right? This is a common theme so far, but we haven't been caught out yet, right? We are winning ugly, right? At this moment in time, it hasn't mattered because we're getting the points. And I said during the stream, there will be a time where we put that performance in and we will not come away with any points whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's when it'll turn. That's where fans will go, no, it needs to change now, right? Right now, I'm just easy with it, right? Performances will come eventually. There will be questions asked soon enough. Of course there's going to be. Of course there's going to be. But today isn't the day to answer those questions because we got 3 points and we were winners, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, man of the match, who are you going to give it to?
Dan Burn.
Dan Burns a shout, yeah.
I think so. In the words of my good friend Jim Ross, this was ball and shoe ugly at times. I think you're totally right in what you've just said there. We've still yet to win a game convincingly. But coming out of the international break, Wolves away at the Molineux was never going to be the fixture.
Did you say the Molineux?
Yeah, just to like wind you up. But Wolves away was never going to be the fixture, whether you like it or not, to put that right. It couldn't have came at a worse time. But like, if you're wanting us to win convincingly and do a team, doesn't matter if they haven't won yet.
Yeah.
Going to Wolves away, historically for Newcastle, it's a tough task. So I'm sorry, like that's not going to
broke the curse.
It's going to be. We've brought the curse in terms of winning, but in terms of if you want to win, it's never going to be pretty.
Yeah.
I know you asked me how man of the match was, but I just wanted to put that point in there, like as in, hopefully we will see better performances moving forward. I know we've got Man City not too far in the future. We've got Fulham next, but Man City too far in the future, and
we'll Cup game thrown in there as well.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, man of the match. I just thought that every time the ball went in the box, it seemed like a block or a header was Dan Burn. I mean, Harvey Barnes, it would be very easy to give him because it's just unreal goal.
Yeah.
But in terms of contribution across the 90, yeah, probably Dan Burn.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I think I always find it hard to give, not necessarily man of the match, the person who scored the goal. That's what Sky do all the time. Somebody scores a goal, they get man of the match. So it would have been very easy to go Bonds, but even collectively as overall performance, yes, Dan Burn kind of at fault for the first goal, but not the only one.
No, he was included in 3 or 4 people who could be subject to saying they did something wrong.
Fairly solid apart from that moment. Well, not fairly solid. 100% solid. Yeah,
he's been. I know people might give me shit for saying, "Oh, he should be captain." I'm only joking, like half. Like Bruno, I totally get why he's captain, but Dan Burn in this centre half role, me and my good friend Mark, I'm just stating over here, he's not here, but like, me and Mark have always said like, I don't mind him at left back, like this, that, and the other. He was in the best defensive one Premier League season at left back. But you can totally see why, like,
you get a lot more
when he plays centre half, he's just, like I said, just proper snot and gore, and just like I'll head anything and I'll get it away. And I might not be that quick, but I'll make sure to position myself in the right way. And there's a couple of times he made tackles today. He made a good tackle that led to it going out nearly for a throw in, and then he got, in quotation marks, pushed. It wasn't a foul, but he got booked for having a go at the linesman. But he's just fighting and scrapping for everything and putting everything in front of anything. Like, yeah, I don't think there's many other players you could really give man of the match to. I mean,
Fabian, possibly.
Fabian maybe, because maybe because obviously he's
solid performance.
He scored a goal, like goal. I know it was a deflection, but he put a similar effort in defensively. But I think just some of the big blocks were Dan Burns. Thought Tino had a bit of an off day.
Good to see Trips back, getting some game time as well and getting some minutes.
You asked the question.
Did he change it?
I don't think, considering how the goals came about, no, but you just never know in terms of get settled. Yeah. Get settled, lads. The openings might not come, if it wasn't for that. But Tino had an off day. Lewis Hall, mixed bag. I thought did some good stuff, did some maybe not so good stuff. But still we know what he's about. He's a quality player. Joe Linton, very off day.
Yeah.
Obviously came off at half time.
Stupid yellow card.
Tonali was sound when he came on. Nothing ridiculous, but sound. Bruno, off day, came off limping. Hopefully he's all right. Longstaff, again, yeah, I know he made a mistake, but I still love you. Don't worry about it. Willock was okay. Was decent. Took up some good positions. And again, Anthony Gordon, wish that goal would have went in. But for me, Dan Burn just a lot of notable interceptions and stuff.
I agree. Thanks everybody who has been joining us. It's been a pleasure, and it's always good to get 3 points,
mate. On a Sunday,
it's the best Sunday ever.
It's Monday tomorrow.
Sunday best.
Mondays are Tuesdays are worse, by the way.
Yeah, Tuesdays are horrendous. Yeah,
Tuesdays are the worst day of the week.
No, I agree.
Like Monday, it's like we all know what Monday's like.
Yeah.
Wednesday, hump day. Thursday, Friday's Eve. Friday's Friday. Tuesday is the purgatory of all the shitty. Oh,
tell you what day is good though. Monday. Do you know why Monday is good?
Go on then.
You get the All Smiling Faces podcast.
You do. You get this sexy man and the other three
sexies.
Three
sexies.
You get to see Decker say the words.
Decker will say the words tomorrow as well. So thanks everybody who has joined us. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on whatever platform you're listening on, you know what to do. YouTube, like the video, become a subscriber as well. Cost you nothing to do that. If you listen to the audio as well, just give us a rating, 5-star rating, preferably. Leave a little comment in there as well. And if you do want to give an extra bit back, you can do so via YouTube. It is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You get early access to videos, you get extra videos, and so much more. So we'd appreciate that massively. I'll see you Monday night at 8:10. Like Matty said, I will be joined with the other 3 lads in Decker, Bestie, and Mark. And yeah, we're off to celebrate. Watch what he's doing. See you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Get in.